The Southeastern Wildlife Exposition returns next week for its 37th year. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition's Executive Director, John Powell. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview next week on iHeartRadio. John Powell, it's so good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Quintin.
Oh, I appreciate this greatly. So here we sit inside the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition's office here in downtown Charleston. Obviously, you are actually the executive director.
Correct.
And have been since 2007, I believe.
2011.
Oh, wow.
I've been with the organization since 2007.
Mm-hmm. As the director from, say, 2011 to now, what is the biggest difference about this festival in your mind?
I would say the Brittlebank Park area, from what people can really see from when they say that we're always growing, we're not necessarily always growing, but a lot more people are going to Brittlebank Park. All of the K9 demonstrations are there. We've added more this year. And with such a large green space on Peninsula Charleston, which is rare, it's given us the opportunity to spread out a little bit. But I'd say also you can see changes, in that time period. The new Gilliard Center was built. The way that we display and the way that we go about finding artists is different at Charleston Place. I mean, we have a lot of people that want to be in our show, so the art is constantly improving. So while some of the changes are glaring, like Brittlebank, there have been changes at all the exhibit sites.
Mm. This year, how many artists and other exhibits we will be able to see?
You'll be able to see over 100 artists at Charleston Place. There are artists all over the city, but we call it our Fine Art Gallery at Charleston Place. So you have painters, sculptors, and carvers. They're all there with their work. At the Gilliard Center, you'll find more artisans. A lot of them are truly artists too, whether it's a woodworker or a knife maker,
right.
Incredibly skilled craftsmen. But when you tally those exhibitors, and again at all the other exhibit sites, it's over 400.
Wow. What's your favorite?
It's a tough question. Honestly, I think I tell people, every part of the show is special to me because it's a balancing act. They all work together, but it's really incredible to leave one exhibit site, to leave Charleston Place, this hub of activity on Saturday. People have smiles on their faces. They're purchasing artwork. And then you leave and you go to Gilliard and it's doing the same thing. And then you go to Marion Square and there are thousands of people at the Birds of Prey demonstration enjoying the day. And then you leave there, same thing's going on at Brittlebank. So you have all these individual sites that are almost little festivals unto themselves,
right.
But they all blend together to create the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition. And it's really exciting to see all of them work together like that.
37 years. What does the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition mean to you?
Well, I haven't been here. I'm only 40 years old, so it was going on long before I got here. But it's such a unique thing, and I can't take credit for its history certainly, but it's such a part of the community. We're a different type of event, and then internally we have this incredible staff that works together where we're all friends. So we really enjoy every day doing what we do, which is try to put together a festival that's an important part of the cultural and economic part of the city of Charleston.
And I was reading a meeting on the Post-Courier just recently. You guys have a lot of new exhibits, and you just mentioned some of it just recently. But what's new and what's now?
So what we try to do is change out about a quarter or 25% of our exhibitors. Sometimes that's not fun because we have great exhibitors every year, but we want to keep it fresh for our attendees. So while the template at, say, Gilliard of how we set up our pipe and draper, our booth,
right.
That'll look the same. You'll see a lot of different exhibitors. What really gets people excited are things like the new dog demonstration I was talking about this year. We have the Star Rescue, so search and rescue. And the way they run a lot of those demonstrations are different. We joke around about Brittlebank. You can see dogs that fly, swim, run, jump, rescue. It goes down the list.
Right.
So I think especially for someone who's an attendee every year, we have a lot of loyal attendees like that. They know that when they get to all the exhibit sites, they're going to see new, fresh faces, new, fresh work, and that's an important part of what we do.
Attendees. I know that you speak to a lot of attendees every year.
We do.
What's your favorite attendee that still plays in your mind today?
Well, we have a lot of characters that are part of the show, whether that's an exhibitor, an artist, or attendee. And that's another personal part of what we do here. You know, somebody calls and we know their name, and they can't make it for some reason. It's sad for us. But one of the things I love about our show is that it doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like. A lot of our attendees, they might dress the same. They might have a barber coat on and you know, Carhartt pants.
Right.
But everybody's the same. Everybody's equal that weekend, and I think, you know, gets treated with the same amount of respect and has the same amount of fun. You know, their attention is on the art and the exhibits and the demonstrations, and those things are equally attractive to everybody, no matter where you come from. So that's fun for us too.
And when you look back from, say, last February to now, how does the Southeastern Wildlife Expo come together in your mind?
Well, it's a lot. I mean, we go. It takes a couple of months to break down a show. You know, we have a lot of staff, a lot of security, a lot of artists, a lot of exhibitors, and the planning stages begin in the spring a lot of the time, or I'd say March. But some of the things, if we're inviting a Jack Hanna, if we're having a big event, that has to happen before, you know, this year's show. And so often the staff will go on a retreat. That's really local. Sometimes the retreat might be right here in the south. But we'll get together, we'll put the broad strokes down, and then we'll start the process of putting the show together, meet regularly, and start to really get those things defined. And that happens over the course of the year, and all things have to play into that. That's which artists are coming, which exhibitors are coming, what kind of corporate sponsor support do we have. And so it doesn't follow the same timeline every year. But typically by June 1st, we are loading up with artists, exhibitors, and by the middle of the summer, if you haven't engaged with us or we haven't engaged with you, it's almost too late by the fall. So we get on it right away.
Right away. You talk about engaging. How can I connect with you all if I want to get tickets for this year's festival?
So the good thing is you can walk up to any of the exhibit sites beginning February 15th, which is when we open to the general public at 10 a.m. and get your tickets on at that site. And if you want to buy them prior to the show, you can still get them at all of the visitor center in the Charleston area.
Wow. And when you think of conservation here in Charleston, where does your mind go to?
Well, we have so many organizations that are involved with us, like the Center for Birds of Prey. It's near and dear to my heart. Ducks Unlimited, that's been a huge part of SEWE for a long time. But those are just some of the ones that people see right off the bat. There are scores of conservation groups that are involved in the show, whether it's pheasants and quail forever. They're just coming to Charleston just to have an event at a hotel and see what kind of support they're going to garner here. South Carolina Audubon Society is having a fashion show on the Friday of SEWE. There are events over in Mount Pleasant with South Carolina Waterfowl Association, and the list goes on and on. There are these side events, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that are raised during SEWE weekend, really, it makes me really proud of what we're doing, because in a lot of ways we provide a stage for these conservation organizations that are too small to really spend, or they don't have the budget to access all of these people that we have here on hand that are willing, able, excited participants. And if you're on a shoestring budget, but you have an opportunity to come to a show with minimal investment and have access to 40,000 people who are conservation oriented, that's a big deal. And we're a unique show, and they don't have that opportunity.
And you talk about what you all are doing now. What will you do next as far as the future of this particular exposition?
I think we'll always try to work to refine what we're doing. We can, just like any business, we can be better at what we do. Although, when I look at what we created this year and certainly last year, I could be more proud of our staff and what we've been able to achieve. But there are always little mistakes, and some of them are innocent, and some of them becomes part of the folklore of SEWE. But yeah, always looking for the next great wildlife artist, the next great exhibitor, the next great educator or presenter for our show that will really engage our attendees and continue to provide value. I'd say we've done a good job of staying that course, and that's our plan for the foreseeable future.
And let's go back to right now, next week. What do you want the headline to be about the Southeastern Wildlife Expo?
I would love for the headline to be that everybody walked away happy, that there was some incredible art, that we supported the artists, that we supported the conservation organizations, that the hotels and restaurants were full, and that everybody was safe and happy.
That is so great to hear.
It's a long headline. But if they can squeeze it.
I'm going to be your editor and edit it down. Well, John Powell, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise.